Hey there, Al Perhax. Welcome back to day number 5 of the 7-day Inception Protocol. And today, we're going to talk about manifestation and abundance, which, by the way, is the most popular topic. I do mindset clarity calls every week. And when somebody signs up to do one of these calls, I give them questions, answers. What do you want to work on? Everybody talks about abundance manifestation. I get on the phone with them. Same thing. They want to manifest. They want to, law of attraction kind of thing, which is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to uncover what you need to do in order to manifest. You'll notice that today I've got the sport coat on. The other day I had the warm-up type suits. I like the Adidas jackets. You'll notice that I wear the Adidas jackets a lot. And so the reason I do that is because I want you to see the different energies that go along with it, right? And today I've just got a t-shirt with a sport coat, whereas the other day, I think it was day number 1, I had the full suit on with white shirt, crisp and clean. It's called wrapping your package. It's all about how you present yourself. And when it comes to manifestation and abundance, there's nothing more important than how you look, which makes you feel a certain way, which obviously is to be able to create abundance in your life. That's really what it's all about. Now, I want you to understand is that there's a certain energy that people put off when they dress well. And there's an energy they put off when they don't dress well. So when I'm working in my yard and I've got jeans and a flannel shirt, and maybe I'm not really shaved, I'm not looking that great, that's a certain look. And if somebody were to see me in that perspective, they would judge me based on whatever that is in their mind. You're judging me based on that as well. You're seeing me in a sport coat. You're seeing me in a sweat jacket. And you're making a judgment call. We all judge. It's just the way it is. You can say whatever you want about not being non-judgmental, but the first impression is usually a visual one. And if you want to manifest, you've got to put out that impression. That's just my opinion based on fact, based on all the people that I coach. Manifestation is not magical. Manifestation is real. But there's always a big but. Isn't that what Pee Wee Herman said? Everyone's got a big butt. What's your big butt? Go check that movie out. It's funny. But the fact of the matter is, what is your big butt to manifesting? What happens a lot of times is people look at manifesting as this thing that they just think about, and they're going to manifest riches and wealth. And I hate to say it, but that's not the way it works. It can't. No, it's not true, really. It really does work that way. But you've got to give the universe something to work with. If you don't give the universe something to work with, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually get it to work. And we're going to go into exactly what that means and why and how, right? So again, going back to what we've talked about the entire time, which is the 9-step process. Assess your skills, discovery, diagnosis, target, core exercises, ritual development, tactics for breakthrough, feedback loop, unblock and release, and then revitalize and transform. All of these things work in every aspect that we talk about. So even in the manifestation process, that's what we're talking about, is we're going to talk about the 9-step process. So I want you to integrate this 9-step process in your mind so that you can utilize it. And when you wonder why you're maybe not manifesting, have you stuck to the game plan? That's what it comes down to. And unfortunately, a lot of people get into more of the woo-woo stuff, which listen, there's nobody more woo-woo than me. Woo-woo meaning esoteric, right? But I'm also going to give you the practical guidelines that you require to get this to work. The other thing is, in this manifestation and abundance section, I'm going to talk from an overarching type of theme. So it's not going to be just money, although I'm going to give you some ideas about that, right? And that's why we've got the pillars, is because they all integrate together. And if you haven't noticed already, everything is integrating together perfectly, because that's the way it is. And we are on the manifestation portion right now. And then tomorrow, we will talk about healing. How are you going to heal yourself or others? And we're going to go into the conflicts of how to do that. We're going to talk about soul healing and get into some pretty interesting topics. But for today, we're talking about manifestation. And then when it comes down to it, the three minds, again, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. You've got to stand this concept of the three minds, so that when you manifest, you're going to put things out. For example, and I'm going to tell you exactly how this works out. But we're going to magnetize. We're going to magnetically attract things to us. And we're going to talk about magnetism. Rock stars, pro athletes, preachers, motivational speakers, high-powered business people are magnetic. They attract people to them. It's an energetic component that a lot of these rock stars, they may be understanding the energy, but do they really understand that they're manipulating the crowd? That's why there's groupies and whatnot. Pro athletes, the same way. They're on the field. It's exciting to watch, and they've got a magnetism to them because they're athletes. Preachers, the same way. That's why you'll notice a lot of preachers have affairs. They're human and feed their ego, and the energy becomes sexualized. Motivational speakers, same way. Go to a motivational speaker, and all of a sudden, people are enamored with this person. Same thing with high-powered business people. You name who the person is. Doesn't matter. That's the examples of magnetism. Now, what I want you to really grasp as we go through this material is examples of manifestation and abundance. I want you to go back into your life. I want you to go and I want you to reflect upon anyone that you know that is successful and has created manifestation abundance. Types of magnetic energy. We're going to talk about physical, mental, and sexual. Physical energy we've talked about. That was day number 2. Mental energy we talked about in day number 1 and 2 and 3. And then sexual. We haven't really talked about that a lot, but there's a lot of energy in the sex. Again, referring back to the book, Think and Grow Rich, sex transmutation. That's taking the sex energy and using it for manifestation purposes more so than just the sexual act. Look that up. But there's a lot of power there. And as I had mentioned in many of my courses, is that a lot of times people will say, hold back your sexual energy in order to create more power. Boxers do it, fighters do it. I've done it at times where I've held back the sexual energy, and it does create an aggressiveness to move forward. Although it does create an aggressiveness overall, which could be construed as negative. The laws of attraction attracts to you everything you need according to the nature of your thought life. Your environment and financial conditions are perfect reflections of your habitual thinking. Thought rules the world. Thought does rule the world, and you need to really grasp that, because if you don't, then, and again, we're going to tie this into the energy, but I'm going to show you some examples, and there's going to be a video that's included here, which it really explains that whole concept of the energy, the mind, and why it does or doesn't work for you. It's a great video, and you should watch it, embrace it, and adhere to it. It's So again, this isn't going to be so woo-woo. Now, there's going to be some woo-woo aspects to it. But just like going fishing, and I'm not a fisherman, but I can assure you that if you go out on a boat and you go into the deepest area where there's all the fish, but you don't have a rod and a reel and some bait, you're not going to catch any fish. You're not. And many of you are trying to manifest without having a line in the water. And I'm going to explain that a little bit too. It's real important. Real important. And you're going to understand exactly why. So manifestation, we're going to cut this down. Now, this is the phases that I also use in my money matrix. If you've gone through my money matrix program, you've heard about it. You want to do it. If you want to go into a full 3 days of money matrix manifestation, the money matrix is the way to go. 3 full days. I go into step by step exactly. But this is the phases no matter what, whether you want to manifest wealth, money, job, career, relationships, health, is number one is phase 1 mindset. This lays the foundation for everything else you'll learn. And if you notice, we started with mindset domination. It's always the number one priority, is to get that mindset that is aligned with where you want to go. Number 2, phase 2, specialized knowledge. Unless you have this, you won't be able to separate yourself from the masses. So again, you want to manifest, you have to change a little bit. Some of that is specialized knowledge, is learning something that's going to propel you to that next level. Phase 3 is manifestation assets. What are the most important assets needed to accumulate to manifest your desires? In some cases, it could be money to invest to get more money back. It could be time to invest more time to get more money or time back, right? What are your assets? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? When I analyze a business, I always do what's called a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, right? Opportunities and threats. You can do that for any area of your life. And you can look that up online and you can see what a SWOT analysis is, but you can do that for your life. And I recommend that you do it. Because as we go into manifestation and abundance, it's going to become very clear to you that it's work. It's work, but then it's also letting go, releasing, accepting, and getting. It might sound like a lot, but it's a synergy between the energy of your mind that resides in your spirit. You're going to see that there are going to be some slides on this training that are going to be very similar to other slides that we've talked about. And you're going to be amazed at the similarities because it's all, again, this is a cohesive type of situation that we're teaching. Your association to manifesting. This is key. Family, friends, associations, past trauma, and thoughts about you. So your family, it depends how you were raised. Were you raised in a family where manifestation and abundance was something that was clearly identified and that your family attracted things to them, whether it was relationships, love, money? You know, money's always the one that's easy to identify because people grew up in some families where, you know, money wasn't an issue. If you grew up in a family where money was not an issue, you have an abundance mindset because you've always had abundance. And so your expectation going out there into the world is abundance. If you grew up in a household where there was not a lot of money, then you have a lack mentality. And the only way you can get away from that lack mentality is to create an abundance mentality. And I'm going to share with you today how you can do that or how you can start to do that. It's a process like any other process in your life. I'm not going to give you ideas that you think you want to hear, that you're just going to manifest the lottery or whatever. Not to say that that can't happen, because anything can happen. I always say that there's two things out there, right? There's possibility and probability. I probably should have created a slide on this, but possibility, anything's possible, right? In your house right now, the president of the United States could walk through your door. That's a possibility, right? The probability of that happened, very slim. You could win the lottery. That's a possibility. The probability, on the other hand, is really slim, but it's a possibility, okay? So family, how were you raised? I want you to think about this, because I want you to go back into your mind, and I want you to go back into your past, and what were those thoughts? I grew up in a middle income family, and so my parents did not have thoughts of abundance. They have thoughts of, I wouldn't say it was lack, because we always had everything we needed, but it was always like money doesn't grow on trees, save the electricity, these types of things, right? I had other friends whose families were wealthy, who had abundance thoughts. And what do you think about the kids? The kids came out with abundance thoughts, right? Now, if you didn't grow up in that kind of thing, that's okay. It's okay, because you can change. It also comes down to your friends, right? What are your friends like? Are they wealthy? They say you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around most. How many of you hang around rich people? How many of you hang around poor people? How many of you hang around with somebody in between, right? Kind of, right? Not rich, but not poor, right? How do you get from one to the other? You associate with the other. That's the principle of association. Take a child of any nationality, race, or origin and put them in an affluent home, an abundance home, with the right mental guidance, and they're going to have an attitude of abundance, no matter what their nationality, race, creed, color, doesn't matter. Take that same child, white, black, doesn't matter the nationality, put them in an environment where there's strife and lack and poverty, and they will go to that. Now, that's not to say that there aren't anomalies on each side, because there are. It's the way the world works, right? We have anomalies on each side of the perspective. That's just the way it goes. Past trauma. You may have been traumatized as a child. Even if you were in an abundant home, you were traumatized, and so therefore you saw that abundance as maybe negative, right? So we're associating the manifestation. It's a mental game. It's a mental game, but it's also an energetic game, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then the thoughts about you. I talked about in the mindset domination, the most critical factor for you is your self-esteem. Your self-esteem about you. I can't be abundant. I never thought I could be, but can you elevate yourself to believe it? Because belief's a big factor, and we're going to cover that as well. So all of these things, we're building this criteria that's going to allow you to manifest at an amazing level if you put in the flight time. Everything comes back to flight time. If you don't put in flight time, I can't promise you anything. That's just the way it is. So you've probably seen something similar to this before, that the energy flows where attention goes. And that's so true. If your attention is about lack and that you can't do it, then that's where the energy goes. And so a lot of people will read or listen or learn about manifestation, law of attraction. They think, oh, I just need to think about it. Well, that's true. But if the energy that you're putting off is not in alignment with what your thoughts are, vice versa, you get a disconnect. And so what happens is you've got this flow, right? This line of flow that's blocked, that has a blockage. And many of you have a blockage. It's a abundance blockage. So your mindset directs and moves the energy in a certain way, right? And so for many of you, and I'm going to go through the mental impurities, but this is how your mindset and directs and moves the energy of fear, doubt, worry, anger, anxiety. How many people do I talk to on a weekly basis that have some kind of anxiety? And they're like, Al, I have a hard time. Well, anytime you speak like that, you are going to create the reality. If you're fearful, oh my God, I might lose my job. I don't know if I'll be able to pay my bills. I have doubts that I'm going to be able to do this. I'm worried. I'm worried about my health. I'm worried about my job, my kids, my blah, blah, blah. Anger. I'm angry. I can't believe the government's doing this. I can't believe my company fired me. Anxiety over everything. And yet you're saying, okay, I want to manifest. There's a blockage. There's a blockage in your mind, body, and spirit that is not allowing the manifestation process to happen. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I don't want to focus on the negative. I don't want you to focus on the negative either. We're going to focus on the positive, but you have to understand where you're at. Like I said, bring back those questions. Where are you at? Where do you want to go? That's the key. Your body then sends the energy out, right? So your mind has this fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, anger, and so your body sends that out and you're trying to manifest. But again, it's blocking the manifestation. And so you think, manifestation's not working for me. It's because the energy and the mind are not working together. Not working together at all. It's causing a major disturbance. So what you have to do is you have to sync it up with the things that you want: faith, abundance, happiness, bliss, confidence, love. You see, you can't have two thoughts at the same time. If you read the Mindset Blueprint, and I hope you did, you can't have two thoughts at the same time. Otherwise, one's going to negate the other. You can't have an abundance thought and be thinking lack. You can't have faith if you have this unbelief. Happiness does not work with anger, right? But these are the things that you require. And I'm going to go through positive emotions and negative emotions. But when you send out this clear energy that feels good, that feels wonderful, all of a sudden, things start to happen really good in your life. Because now you've got the energy lined up. And again, like I mentioned before, all energy can be transformed. So if you have a negative energy, you can transform it. So how do you do that? It's a conscious. You have to consciously make a decision that I am going to change my energy, my thoughts from negative to positive. It's flipping the switch. It's as easy as that, and it's as hard as that. Just know this, that thoughts rule the world. Thoughts rule your world. And it's either the thoughts of abundance, manifesting, or the thoughts of lack and poverty and all the negativity. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I've been trying this manifestation. I've been doing it. I've been doing all of what you said. And I would guess that if I were to do a session with you, I could find out within about 20 minutes that's not the case. In fact, I interviewed somebody that did a call with me just the other day, and they said, you know what, I don't know why I have all these issues. I think positive all the time. And as I started going through what this person really was thinking, it was so doggone negative. It was almost the most negative I've ever heard. They didn't like this person. They get along with this person. They were judging this person. And so all of that was bottling up this energy to create the exact opposite of what they wanted. And see, that's the thing. Some of you are manifesting perfectly. You're just manifesting in the exact opposite of what you actually want. So emotional attraction, emotions create motion. As you create emotions, you're going to create motion, which is activity, flight time, right? So think about it. If you're depressed, you create motion, and that is whatever that depressed mode is. If you're happy, you're creating a different emotion. You're happy, you're smiling, things are great. Depression is like, you know what? I don't feel good. Headache. Got all these issues because of the emotion. We're going to talk about that as well. So let's talk about the 7 positive emotions: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. There are many others, but these are 7 positive emotions that we're going to talk about as it relates to manifestation, because it's going to make sense once we go through each and every one of them. Number 1, desire is the catalyst of your dreams and goals. Again, going back to Think and Grow Rich, desire is that beginning stage. Now, many of you have a desire, but are you willing to do whatever it takes to get that desire? It's the catalyst of your dreams and goals. If you don't have that burning desire, it's just not going to happen. It's just not, right? There's no professional athlete that becomes professional and earns a tremendous amount of money if they haven't had that desire backed with action to get as good as they could. There's probably none. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. I want you to break this down. The substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. This is probably one of the biggest factors with why you're not manifesting. Is your faith level is low. Now, you think it's high because you say, I have the faith, because you don't understand what faith is. It is the substance of things hoped for, evidence. It means there's nothing that you can see of things not seen, which means you have to see it in your mind's eye before it's real. And all great people that have achieved in life have seen the end before, and that's based on faith. Love is the essence of what motivates us. Love is really the best emotion. You want to give your love away freely, not in a sexual way, unless that's your thing. But I mean, you're giving your love away for free, and you're building up this big heart. The love, and when we get into the healing, you're going to notice that love is really a healing element. And it's a healing element in your manifestation as well. The more you love, the more you're going to get. Don't judge. Don't, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I love everybody. And then they say, oh yeah, that guy's a rotten sucker. Well, you can't have it both ways. You got to send that love energy out. It's the essence of what motivates us. If you have kids, you have a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever you want to call it, you know that love. And it's different because you feel it, right? There's a love for a child is so much more than a love between parents, because parents could get divorced. It's very rare that you get divorced from your children unless there's some kind of real issue. There's always that love bond. Sex, when controlled properly, becomes an unstoppable force of energy. Sex is a super generator. It can motivate you to do, so many things. Unfortunately, a lot of times sex is uncontrolled and it becomes an unstoppable force of negative energy because, you're doing it in a way that's not helping you. Okay. But sex can be used. Sex transmutation can be used to be a powerful energy source. One of the most powerful of all. Enthusiasm. This is the fire in the belly to attract what you desire. You got a desire. Now you got to get that enthusiasm that creates this. You wake up every morning enthusiastic to get the job done. And again, you notice I'm talking, these are action words and verbs that we have to take action. We have to put in the flight time. This is not a stagnant process. It's not something you just go, all right, I'm putting out the vibes and I'm going to get back all the things that I desire in my life, right? I mean, that's just not how it works, guys. It's not. And if you think it is, then you're under an illusion of what it's going to take for you to be where you need to be with attraction. And again, this manifestation in abundance, this is related to everything that you do. Not just the money, not just health, not just relationships, everything. And then romance is the power link between love and sex, right? You can love somebody, but when you romance them, it's the combination of the love and the sex that creates this overarching desire. And it's an energy that's palpable. You can see two people that are romantically involved. They've got the love and the sex energy going, and it's super powerful. If the romance or the sex falls off, then you notice that there's an imbalance in the force, so to speak, right? Makes sense. And then hope is the power to believe, right? It's the power to believe, and then it locks into that faith element. It makes sense, though. And I want you to go back through these slides. You're going to get, obviously, copies of the slides. I want you to go through the slides and really go through them and you know, again, everything that we're going through in the 7 days, you can check it. You go through and go, am I doing this? Do I have hope, right? Do I have belief? Do I have faith? Do I have the sex? Do I have the romance, right? Do I have all these positive emotions? Because the next ones we're going into are the mental impurities. Envy, hatred, revenge, doubt, superstition, anger, fear, worry, jealousy. These are disgusting. And we've all gone through them. And none of these will ever be to your advantage. Ever. Envy. You envy somebody. And when you envy somebody, there's a jealousy, right? There's this, that envy can turn into jealousy, hatred, and then it creates a negative emotion, a negative energy. Now, that's not to say that if you, like, for instance, if I see somebody that's driving a car that I want, I say, man, I'd like to get that car. I'd like to have a house like that, or I'd like to do this or that. That's not necessarily envy, right? Unless I said, oh man, that person has this thing and I don't have it and I wish I had it. They're lucky. They don't deserve it. I deserve it. They don't deserve it. That's envy, right? Hatred. This is one of the worst words ever. As my kids were growing up, I would always say, do not ever say you hate somebody. They'd come home from school and say, I hate that kid. No, you don't hate that kid. You might not like him or her, but you don't hate them. Hate is totally disempowering. And when you use the word hate, you better use it for a good reason. This is one of those things where you don't use it, you know, unless it's absolutely, you know, verifiable. Because hatred is terrible. It causes wars. It causes death. It's so negative. And it attracts energies, entities because of that hatred. Oh my God, I hate those people. No, you don't have to hate them. Love them. Love them. Revenge. Revenge, I understand, because if somebody did something to one of my family members, I would want revenge on that. But if you're constantly thinking about it, it's a negative. So revenge is somebody got the job, the promotion at work because of you, and you want to get them back somehow. That's a negative emotion. It's a negative concept. Totally negative. Now, if somebody harmed your child or your spouse or whatever, I could probably understand that because I'm that way, right? Vengeful. But under most circumstances, not going to help you at all. Doubt is one of the big ones. You'll notice fear, anger, worry, and doubt. Those are the top ones, in my opinion, that I see people doubt. People doubt themselves because they don't have the knowledge that they think they have to get where they want to go. Superstition. I'm not this because of that, right? I'm not successful because when I was 10 years old, somebody put a curse on me or somebody did this, or, whatever. I mean, not that those aren't real, but superstition. Don't buy into it. Anger. How many people are angry about everything? I'm angry about this, politics, this, that, and the other, sports, blah, blah, blah. They go crazy over stuff with anger. I get angry. I used to be really angry. I remember when I first got married, I was so angry. I took a chair and threw it through the wall. And then all of a sudden, my anger turned to shame. And then I said, oh my God, that was the dumbest thing I ever did, because at the time I didn't have any money. And I had to fix the freaking wall, which I didn't have the money to fix. But I was renting the place, so I had to fix it, which I did. But that was anger, stupidity. Anger's never going to get you where you want to go, ever. So don't do it. And when you do it, you just got to back off of it quickly. Fear. It's a big one. False evidence appearing real. Most fears, they're not even real. They're not even real, most fears. Oh my God, I'm afraid I might not be able to make the rent. Until you don't make the rent, it's not a real fear. Right? It ties into that worry thing. Fear and worry. Fear and worry are gonna take away your manifestation and your abundance more so than almost every one of these. Because you are putting out this energy of fear and worry. Right? Fear, worry, and doubt. Those are going to put out the energy that's going to be the most negative. For example, I'll give you a quick example. So let's say you had an angry energy. Well, the angry energy could still be positive from the standpoint that it could attract things to you. It's just angry. Whereas worry and fear are never going to get you manifestation, ever. Not that the anger is good. Don't get me wrong here. But the fact of the matter is, fear and worry are going to dissipate you so much and handicap you. Jealousy. Again, the jealousy and the envy thing is you're jealous of somebody else. You're jealous of a brother. You're jealous of a sister. You're jealous of a neighbor. You're jealous. It just creates this negative energy. And again, when that energy goes out to manifest, to attract, it's negative. So you're going to attract negative. Do you understand how this works? Is that just because you're sending out energy and you say, man, I've got an abundance of energy, but if it's negative energy, you're going to attract an exact opposite to what you really want to attract. That's the key. And that's what you have to understand. So let's talk about an attraction technique that you can use. I want you to start with an image of what you want. And then I want you to start to put meat on the bones of that idea, whatever that idea is. And I'll come up with an example in a minute. But I want you to build it so strong that it's as if it's already happening. And then future pace it by seeing it as in your past. Mental picture of total fulfillment of your objective, right? So I'll use an example that when my wife and I were looking for this house that we're in currently, we had an image of what we wanted, right? And my wife said, I want a great kitchen and I want this, that, and the other. And I said, well, all I really want is I want a man cave. I want an office. I want a place where I can set up a studio. And those were my needs. Her needs were certain things. My needs were certain things. We start to put the meat on the bone, looking at this house, that house. This one, look over here. Now, the house we live in now, it has a long driveway, long dirt driveway. It was a dirt driveway when we moved in. And the minute we pulled in the drive when we were first looking at the house, I said, there's no freaking way. This looks terrible. She said, well, let's just go check out the house. We're already here. And I said, all right, let's do it. Now we walk in and the kitchen is unbelievable. $10,000 stove, all the upgraded appliances. It's super wide open, beautiful sunlight. And then I go downstairs into the basement and there's an office space. There's a gym area. There's a man cave that can be used for a big screen TV and a bar. And it checked all the boxes. The meat came on the bones immediately. And so when we came into this house, we started to visualize and attract it to us, right? And if you've ever bought a house, other people are going after it as well. But we built it so strong that it's happening for us. And then we future paced it that we had it. And then the mental projection of the total fulfillment. And it happened. It's happened for every house that we've been in. My wife is extremely focused in certain areas, and attracting homes have been fantastic. But again, we both had to be on the same page as far as what we liked. I mean, you can't be so much that, I don't like this or she doesn't like that. But when it comes together, you put the meat on the bones. You can do the same thing with a job. You can do the same thing you could really do the same thing with a relationship. What do you want? Right? Now, if you're too specific, I had a friend of mine who was so specific, couldn't find anyone. He needed a woman he's in his 50s, but he wants a woman that's early 30s, vegan, successful, no kids, never been married, right? I mean, he's got this mold, which it's there somewhere, but guess what? There's not as many of those people as there are others, right? So you've got to start with what you want, but you've also got to understand that you have to be somewhat flexible, right? And then as you start to put meat on the bones of the idea, you open your energy up to those ideas. Just like when we were looking at this house became the model for what we wanted, and every home that we went into after that was based on, does it check the boxes like the other one did? Now, I also was not so attached to this home that if for some reason it fell through, I would have been okay with it, because I always believe that there's always something that's supposed to happen for me in the right time frame. This is a key element, is understanding that when you're putting the energy out, that you expect the absolute best results based on the fact that you're going to get the best results, even if they're the results that don't align 100% with what you want, because the universe is going to deliver what you need, sometimes not what you want. Sometimes they coordinate 100%. Other times you get in another situation and you go, okay, I'm going to do that. And then you find out later that it was exactly what you needed. Exactly what you needed. That could be a job. It could be a person. It could be a relationship, a business situation, a health situation. It goes on and on. Okay? It goes on and on. So these are concepts. These are but a few of the attraction methods, few of the secrets. But I can assure you that if you just take these and you adhere to them, you're going to get great results. Now, if you want more, then I would suggest looking into my, Matrix Manifestation, MP10X, which is a Manifestation Portals 10X. Look into my Magneto program. Look into my Money Matrix if you really want to get into the money creation aspect of things. These are all elements that will give you that additional knowledge. And why would you want to do that, though? Because you want to learn. You want to keep, again, reading, listening, and viewing, and then association. That never changes no matter what you want to learn and what you want to get good at, specialized knowledge. You want to be able to read, listen, and associate. And when I say listen, I really mean listen and watch. So it could be audio, it could be a YouTube video, it could be a live presentation, and then it's the association. If your association is with crooks and criminals, you're going to be a crook or a criminal. If your association is with wealthy people, you'll be that. Here's my assignment for you. I want you to talk to somebody over the next week who's really successful in your mind. Now, it could be somebody from a health standpoint, somebody that's in great shape. It could be somebody that has the best marriage, a marriage you think is great, and you'll find out when you talk to them. It could be somebody that has a great business, how they do it, how they become successful. It could be somebody that's super successful financially. Doesn't have to be a business, but they could be an executive or a salesperson or something like that. I want you to reach out to, and maybe several people, and I want you to start building up in your mind that association of how that happens, how that works, right? Because what you want to do is you want to familiarize your mind, body, and spirit with this concept of what does success look like. And when I say success and attraction, manifestation, abundance, it all comes down to what is your prosperity consciousness? In order to get the prosperity consciousness, a lot of it comes down to the ability to find people that you can model, right? Modeling is a big thing. You want to be successful, you model somebody successfully. And that's how you're going to get those results. Many of you, in order to become and manifest, you're going to need to change up your game, either by principle of association, your listening, your reading, your energy, your thoughts. I mean, it's a lot when you think about it. It's easy. I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy because you got to get all these things lined up. Anyone that told you it's super easy is just lying to you, right? That's not to say it's not simple, because many of you probably have, a lot of these elements together. You just need to tick off a couple more. Some of you may need the whole ball of wax, which is fine. But this is what it's going to take for you to manifest and create abundance in your life. It starts with that prosperity consciousness, that mindset that you're going to be successful. Now, in some cases, when it comes to specialized knowledge, you might have to totally scrap your current game plan and go with something else. And that could take time. But it might be necessary in order for you to get to where you want to go. So don't ever think that you're wasting your time by investing in yourself one way or the other. Of course, you got to do it in the right way, that you're getting the smartest choice. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. Any questions? I'm happy to help you with anything. And again, any questions you might have, you can save it for the 7th day, which is going to be primarily a review and questions and answers. So thanks for watching and have a great day. So long.